Friends with benefits, harmless or heartbreaking. Welcome back to Strong Male Figure. Today we're tackling a relationship dynamic that's become increasingly common but remains widely misunderstood. Friends with benefits. A relationship where friendship and physical intimacy coexist without traditional commitment. Is this arrangement the perfect middle ground between casual hookups and serious relationships? Or is it a relationship structure that ultimately leads to emotional confusion and pain? By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of when these arrangements work, when they fail, and most importantly, how to approach them with integrity. Why friends with benefits arrangements are popular. Let's start by acknowledging the genuine appeal of friends with benefits relationships. Emotional safety. Unlike completely casual encounters with strangers, there's a foundation of trust and familiarity. You know each other beyond the physical interaction. Freedom from expectations. Many men appreciate the lack of traditional relationship pressures. No family gatherings, holiday obligations, or discussions about long-term compatibility. Convenience and comfort. There's a practical appeal to consistent physical intimacy with someone you already enjoy spending time with. Transitional value. These arrangements can serve as a buffer during periods of life transition, after a breakup, during intensive career focus, or other times when a full relationship feels unmanageable. As one 29-year-old viewer shared, "After my 5-year relationship ended, an FWB arrangement gave me connection without demanding emotional resources I simply didn't have. It was exactly what I needed at that time in my life." The reality, why they often fail despite their appeal. Research and experience show that FWB arrangements often don't deliver on their promise of simplicity. Emotional evolution. Humans aren't designed to compartmentalize physical and emotional intimacy indefinitely. Hormones like oxytocin and vasopressin, released during physical intimacy, promote bonding and attachment. Uneven development. Frequently, one person develops deeper feelings while the other remains committed to the original arrangement. This asymmetry creates a power imbalance that can damage both the friendship and any remaining physical connection. Ambiguity and confusion. Without clear boundaries and consistent communication, these relationships often exist in an uncomfortable gray area where neither person is certain of the rules or expectations. Opportunity cost. Time and emotional energy invested in an FWB arrangement may prevent both people from finding relationships that could offer greater fulfillment. A 36-year-old follower of the channel described his experience. "What started as uncomplicated became the most complicated relationship of my life. We spent more time discussing what we weren't than enjoying what we were." The success factors when FWB arrangements work. Despite the challenges, some friends with benefits arrangements do function well. These typically share common characteristics. Radical honesty. Successful FWB relationships feature ongoing, transparent communication about feelings, expectations, and boundaries, not just at the beginning, but consistently throughout. Genuine friendship foundation. The strongest arrangements are built on authentic friendship that existed before physical intimacy and would survive if that aspect ended. Mutual life circumstances. Both parties are genuinely in similar life situations that make traditional relationships undesirable or impractical for legitimate reasons. Regular check-ins. There's a willingness to periodically assess whether the arrangement still serves both people's needs, and adjust accordingly. Clear boundaries. Successful FWB relationships establish explicit rules about behaviors that might blur lines, such as overnight stays, public displays of affection, or integration with each other's social circles. One 26-year-old viewer who maintained a successful FWB relationship for nearly 2 years explained, "We had monthly State of the Union conversations where we'd honestly discuss if anything had changed for either of us. This prevented small issues from becoming major problems." The science, what's happening in your brain. Understanding the biological realities can help you make more informed decisions. The chemistry of connection. Physical intimacy releases powerful hormones, including oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, often called bonding chemicals. These substances literally change your brain chemistry and can create emotional attachment regardless of your conscious intentions. Primitive programming. Our neurological systems evolved during times when sex and survival were closely linked. Your brain doesn't necessarily distinguish between just physical and emotional connection. It's wired to create bonds through physical intimacy. Individual variation. Some people are biologically more susceptible to forming attachments through physical intimacy than others. This isn't a character flaw or strength. It's a neurological reality that varies between individuals. This helps explain why some people can maintain these arrangements with minimal emotional complication while others find their feelings changing despite their best intentions. The hidden costs. What's often overlooked before entering an FWB arrangement? Consider these less obvious factors. Friendship. Risk. If the arrangement ends poorly, you may lose not just the physical component, but the underlying friendship as well, a friendship that may have had significant value in its own right. Emotional bandwidth. These relationships often consume more emotional energy than anticipated, potentially limiting your capacity for other connections. Development delay. The comfort of these arrangements can sometimes prevent personal growth that might come from either being fully single or navigating a committed relationship. Misalignment investment. You might be investing time and energy in a connection that ultimately doesn't align with your deeper values or long-term desires. As one 41-year-old viewer reflected, "Looking back, my FWB years weren't just about avoiding commitment. They were about avoiding the self-work I needed to do to be ready for a real relationship." The integrity question, being honest with yourself. Before considering a friends with benefits arrangement, ask yourself these critical questions. 1. Am I truly emotionally available for this type of arrangement, or am I using it to avoid dealing with past hurts? 2. Do I genuinely value this friendship enough to risk potential complications? 3. Am I being completely honest with myself about my expectations and desires? 4. Would I be genuinely happy if this person met someone else and ended our arrangement? 5. Does this alignment with my authentic values, or am I compromising what I truly want? Your answers to these questions can reveal whether you're approaching this from a place of clarity or potential self-deception. Rasin, the gender reality, different perspectives. While individual experiences vary widely, research suggests some general patterns worth acknowledging. Different expectations. Studies indicate that men are somewhat more likely to enter these arrangements, hoping they'll remain purely physical, while women are slightly more likely to see them as a potential pathway to a relationship. Social conditioning. Men are often socialized to separate physical and emotional intimacy more distinctly than women, though this varies significantly between individuals. Perception differences. Research suggests that men sometimes overestimate their ability to maintain emotional detachment, while underestimating their partner's emotional involvement. Understanding these potential differences can help you navigate these relationships with greater awareness and sensitivity. The communication framework, essential conversations. If you decide to pursue an FWB arrangement, these conversations are non-negotiable. The definition talk. Explicitly discuss what this arrangement means to each of you, what activities are included, what expectations exist around exclusivity. The boundary setting. Clarify behaviors that might create confusion. Will you stay overnight, meet each other's friends, demonstrate physical affection in public? The exit strategy. Discuss in advance how you'll handle it if one person meets someone else or wants to end the physical aspect of the relationship. The feelings check-in. Establish a regular practice of honestly assessing whether emotional boundaries are being maintained. The health conversation. Discuss sexual health practices, testing protocols, and how you'll handle exclusivity or protection if either of you has other partners. Navar. The warning signs, when to end it. Be alert to these indicators that an FWB arrangement is becoming unhealthy. Jealousy emergence. If you find yourself feeling possessive or upset about their interactions with others, deeper feelings have likely developed. Communication breakdown. When open discussion about the arrangement becomes difficult or uncomfortable, something important is being avoided. Behavior creep. If relationship-like behaviors, daily check-ins, family events, future planning, start appearing without explicit discussion, boundaries are blurring. Satisfaction decline. When the arrangement begins causing more stress than fulfillment, it's time to reassess. Hope imbalance. If either person is secretly hoping for eventual relationship evolution, while the other remains committed to the original terms, it's a recipe for pain. One viewer shared this insight. I knew it was over when I started checking her social media to see who else she might be seeing. That wasn't the arrangement we agreed to, and my behavior showed me my feelings had changed. The ethical approach. Principles for FWB relationships. If you choose to pursue this type of arrangement, commit to these principles. Do no harm. Prioritize treating the other person with respect and care, even when it's challenging. Maintain transparency. Keep communication open, honest, and regular, even when conversations become uncomfortable. Honor boundary. Respect the parameters you've established together, avoiding the temptation to push for more without explicit agreement. Practice empathy. Regularly consider how your actions might affect the other person's well-being. Accept responsibility. Acknowledge your role in creating and maintaining the health of the relationship. Conclusion: making an informed choice. Friends with benefits arrangements aren't inherently harmless or heartbreaking. The outcome depends largely on the specific people involved, their emotional makeup, their communication skills, and their life circumstances. When approached with self-awareness, honesty, and clear communication, these relationships can serve a meaningful purpose during certain life phases. When entered into with self-deception, poor communication, or misaligned expectations, they often create more pain than pleasure. The strongest men aren't those who can maintain emotional detachment in the face of intimacy. but those who can honestly assess their own needs and communicate them with integrity. True masculinity isn't about conforming to cultural expectations about casual relationships. It's about making choices aligned with your authentic values and treating others with respect in the process. If this discussion has given you insights about your own relationships, I invite you to take these important steps. First, subscribe to Strong Male Figure and hit the notification bell. We tackle these complex aspects of modern masculinity every week, providing perspectives you won't find in mainstream discussions. Finally, and most importantly, take time this week for honest self-reflection. About your current relationships, are they aligned with what you truly want and who you want to be? The courage to face this question honestly is what sets apart men of character from those merely following cultural scripts.